Hello everyone, this is horror author James Hershey Jr. from the Staring to the Abyss radio show, and today's article is from UFOholic.com, and the headline is Former NASA Engineer Tells About 9-Foot Tall Alien Meeting with ISS Astronauts, and it was published on October 29th, 2015. Another mysterious case of alien disclosure has emerged, this time from a former NASA employee who claims to have witnessed the most bizarre sighting. While on a routine space mission, Clark McClelland, a now retired aerospace engineer who worked for NASA's shuttle fleet at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida from 1958 to 1992, witnessed a meeting between a 9-foot tall humanoid alien and two astronauts in a cargo bay of the space shuttle. He claimed that the tall alien being was wearing a similar astronaut costume, adjusted for his particularly tall size, and that it appeared to be in charge as it was giving indications to the other two cosmonauts. I, Clark C. McClellan, former SCO Space Shuttle Fleet, personally observed an 8 to 9 foot tall ET on my 27-inch video monitors while on duty in the Kennedy Space Center, Launch Control Center. The ET was standing upright in the Space Shuttle payload bay, having a discussion with two tethered U.S. NASA astronauts. I also observed on my monitors the spacecraft of the ET as it was in a stabilized safe orbit to the rear of the Space Shuttle main engine pods. I observed this incident for about 1 minute and 7 seconds, plenty of time to memorize all that I was observing. It was an ET and an alien starship. On July 29, 2008, when he released the story on his website, Stargate Chronicles, the UFO and alien enthusiasts believed this to be the ultimate ET evidence, and that NASA might finally admit his story, because his background as an astronaut was really impressive, and there could be no doubt about his mental health or any other similar issues that could put his testimony in a bad light. With my verifiable background, there is no federal government agency that can say I'm crazy. I am a space program pioneer. I assisted in launching the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, deep space missions, and the International Space Station. I have received honored mentions from U.S. senators, congressmen, military officers, and scientists. And here's a picture of the gentleman in what appears to be one of the shuttles. I have received character substantiations from Walter Cronkite, Major Donald Keyhole, NICAP Director, Richard Hall, Assistant Director of NICAP Astronomer. I served as the Assistant State of Florida and KSC Director of MUFON, the Director of the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena at Cape Canaveral and KSC. Any doubts about his astronaut background are being diminished by his claims, and also by the many authentic photos and documents from his time spent with NASA that have been posted on his website. Because NASA cannot dismiss his claims about his career as a space engineer, one can accept him as a reliable source of information about ET life and alien contact with humanity. Another relevant fact is McClelland's friendship with NASA astronomer Edgar Mitchell, lunar module pilot of Apollo 14 and sixth man to walk on the surface of the moon, who also supported the alien theory. He claimed that 90% sure that many of the thousands of unidentified flying objects or UFOs recorded since the 1940s belong to visitors from other planets. The former space engineer McClelland also claimed that NASA is hiding the truth about alien encounters here on Earth, and that the ISS is being used as a meeting point for alien and human representatives. NASA is not a civilian space agency. The Pentagon owns NASA. Some of the Department of Defense missions I participated in were top secret. Those missions carried TS satellites and other space mission hardware into orbit, where several crews met with the ETs. Even though his simple claims are not consistent enough for some, he has a strong alibi that comes with his irreproachable background. We have to consider that being an aerospace engineer at NASA is not quite an easy task for everyone to pass, and the agency is taking all the precautions when it comes to hiring a professional personnel. Apart from this, recent proof of the International Space Station terminating the live stream when a gray UFO made its presence noticed has brought even more credibility to this case. And that is the end of the article. This is a rather interesting article because here you have somebody who worked at NASA who has a lot of credentials. He's not some kook, he's not some redneck standing out in the field that said, I saw a UFO. This is a gentleman that worked on many of the launches. He was there for a lot of it. And he is saying that he saw on his monitor an alien talking to two astronauts in the shuttle. Very interesting. I know there's been a lot of reports of different astronauts claiming that they have seen things while they were out there. I also know for a fact that there has been footage that NASA has captured that shows strange, what appear to be crafts moving in our orbit. Now, these aren't just satellites that are going around and around and around. And these aren't some sort of meteor or space debris that is on a straight line trajectory heading towards Earth and then going through the atmosphere and burning up. These are objects that are flying. They'll be going extremely fast in one direction. They will stop on a dime, turn a completely different direction, and zoom off at a very rapid rate of speed. I have seen this footage myself. I have seen multiple examples of that kind of footage myself. And I have also seen the footage that NASA has released to the public, and that exact same footage that's supposed to be of the exact same event that I saw the footage of before it was released to the public does not have those objects in it. So that footage has been scrubbed. I know there's been situations where they have had live feeds and something happens and all of a sudden the feed goes down. My basic point here is there's a lot of stuff that happens that doesn't get released to the public. There are things that have happened with astronauts and with missions and that we have seen through some of the cameras from the International Space Station and some of the other satellites that were very, very strange, that seemed to indicate some sort of craft that was capable of propulsion, capable of changing direction and flying off. Now, is that extraterrestrial? Or is it something that we did? Is it technology that we possess that is not known to the general public? Is it a space force, so to speak? Everybody laughed at Trump when he talked about the Space Force. He wanted to create a new branch of the military called the Space Force that would operate in space. And everybody thought that was kind of crazy, but the truth of the matter is that's existed for quite a long time. It's not a new thing that's just getting developed. It's coming out to the public as new because it's being made known that it exists. That's how they do it. They don't say, oh, we've had this for decades and now we're going to tell you it exists. They pretend like it's a brand new thing they're coming out with. They do that with the experimental aircraft they work on, and they have for a decade, and then they finally release it to the public that it exists, and it's the newest plane that we have, or whatever. And it's always made to look like it's brand new. This is the same thing. The Space Force is exactly the same. It already exists, and it's being made to look new. If you want to know more about that, I'll give you a great little nugget to start researching on. Just simply look up Secret Space Program, and you will find a plethora of information about this. There's some that's just people talking about it that don't really have any inside information. But if you dig, you can find people that were insiders that have actually come out and talked about this. Extremely, extremely interesting. Maybe one day I'll do a episode of Staring into the Abyss on the Secret Space Program. Possibly. I don't know. That's a lot of information to unravel. I don't know if I could do it all in an hour. But anyway, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this article. if you believe this guy or if you think that he's just somebody who's trying to get attention. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for all the support that you show me. Thanks for watching the videos. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.